Right, how's everybody doing? I hope your maintenance phase is going well. Again, listen, guys, if you have any problems with your maintenance phase or you're not sure what type of a sort of structure you should have over the 3 weeks between now and the next fasting challenge, don't be afraid to drop me a message and let me know. Seriously, just ask and we'll get it sorted. I want you to really enjoy the 3 weeks where you're not focusing on weight loss, you're not focusing on diet. And I know we want to focus on not putting on weight, but that's much easier to do than constantly thinking about what to eat, what not to eat, and all that kind of stuff. So, but what I want to do now is we did this in the previous, not the last challenge, but the challenge before, where we added in sort of, if you want to call them fat burners, I wouldn't really describe them as fat burners as what you think are fat burners from over the counter, but basically things that are going to aid fat burning during the fast, the 5-day fast. So I'm going to do a couple of videos in the next few days where I'm going to give you information on fat burning aids that you can add on to your 5-day challenge. It's going to really accelerate the fat burning. So now we know what we're doing from a fasting point of view. We're going to add on sort of some other stuff that's really going to massively increase your fat burning potential. Right, things like, for example, yohimbine, which we've done on the challenge before. We're going to add that in again too. Now, it'll also give you about 2 or 3 weeks to get some of these together if you want, because one or two of them can be a wee bit pricey. There's one specifically is a bit pricey, but it's an absolute a game changer when it comes to burning fat. Not just burning fat, but actually your health and longevity. Some of these things now are coming out, which I'm going to break down and explain, are next level stuff, right, when it comes to like longevity and health. But again, like I keep saying, when we combine like good health, good nutrition, fat burning is a byproduct of that. So whenever we accelerate that, then more fat burning is going to be a byproduct, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. Excuse me a second. So we're going to add on some stuff that's going to help us increase fat burning, for example, the green tea. So I'll go through these one by one so we can get a grasp of what they are and whether you think they're for you or not, or how they're going to aid us during our 5-day challenge. The first one is, again, the yohimbine. Yohimbine is basically comes from a yohimbe bark in Africa, and they're taking extracts of it. It's also known as a bit of a aphrodisiac, but I don't think it is. I think the actual root is, not the extract that they use for the fat burning properties, if you know what I mean. So don't worry about this. You're not going to be jumping your partner every day just because you've got the yohimbine in you, unless that's what you want. But anyway, so what it actually does, it works by attaching onto receptor sites that your adrenaline and norepinephrine hormone would normally attach on. And what does that mean? Whenever we go into fight or flight, let's say, I know a saber-toothed tiger jumps through the wall right now, my fight or flight system kicks in, my nervous system kicks in, my cortisol goes up. I start to release things like adrenaline and norepinephrine, because these are needed to give me energy. Because imagine, again, from an evolutionary point of view, I've gone maybe 3 or 4 weeks without food, I'm looking for food, I'm absolutely exhausted. This saber-toothed tiger spots me, he comes running after me. Where am I going to get energy from to save my life? Now, my body, remember, our body are built on survival mechanisms over hundreds of thousands of millions of years of evolution. We have learned to have tools that's going to help us on these things, do these things. And this is where adrenaline and norepinephrine come in. So your adrenal glands will release these in times of fight or flight. One, adrenaline, you can understand what adrenaline is. You get this burst of energy from your adrenal systems. But what it also does, it has to start to give you energy, mobilize energy. So it actually goes into your fat cells, and it breaks down fat cells to utilize as energy. This is called lipolysis. So it's breaking down the stored fat and mobilizing it. Remember, when we burn fat, I've explained this before, when we burn fat, we've got to do 2 things with the fat that we've stored. Remember, fat is just calories stored together and a triglyceride. So it's 3 fatty molecules attached to a glycerin, what you call a backbone. Backbone because there's like 3 wee bits of it, and attaches onto the 3 fatty molecules. That's called a triglyceride. And that triglyceride is then stored in your fat cells. That's how the energy is stored. So for us to use that as energy, first of all, we've got to break the glycerol backbone. We've got to release the 3 fatty acids. The fatty acids have then got to go into the bloodstream. They go from the bloodstream into the cell, which would be the mitochondria, and then they've got to be burnt up in the mitochondria. They've actually been oxidized in the mitochondria. So we've got to release the fat to be used, and then we've got to oxidize it. They actually provide the energy, the ATP from it. Remember, ATP is the energy currency of life. Every cell in your body uses ATP. It gets ATP from fats and carbohydrates, but how it gets it is different processes. Glycolysis, lipolysis. Lipolysis is breaking down of fat. Glycolysis is the breaking down of glycogen. But this is going to mobilize fat. So your yohimbine breaks the glycerol backbone with the adrenaline, and it basically then releases the fat in the system to be used. Now, the side effect is you can get a wee bit jittery, obviously, because it's going to have the same effect as sort of like adrenaline. That's why we increase the dose very incrementally. Like the last time we used 2, and then up to 4, and up to 6. At the minute I'm using 10, but again, I'm 14 stone, so it does also depend on body weight. But what that does then is only mobilise the fat, so then when we move, or specifically hopefully exercise, specifically cardio exercise or aerobic exercise, it literally just melts the fat because it's mobilising. Let's say I wake up in the morning, I'm fasted, which means I haven't eaten, and I want to go for a walk to burn some fat. The first 10-15 minutes of that walk, even if I go to the gym to do exercise, the body's producing the enzymes, like for example all the stuff it needs. They break down the fat cells, they mobilise for energy. Now for the first 20 minutes I am still moving, 15-20 minutes, what am I using? I'm using any blood sugars that are left over, any sugar that's floating around the blood, I'll start to use that. The body then will release hormones, glucagon and stuff like that, and say, right, okay, I need to bring blood sugars back up. There's a cascade of hormonal effects then, glucagon, cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. They go then, they start to release all the fatty molecules, the fatty molecules get released in the system then to be used as energy. So imagine then, so it takes about 15-20 minutes. If I'm only walking for an hour, I've only really actually been burning fat burning. I'm burning calories, but I'm burning calories, one from blood sugars, which are floating in my blood, and then I'm going to tap into the calories that are basically stored as fat. Whenever I eat food, I'll first of all replenish the blood sugars, and then if I overeat, I'll then replenish the fat. But anyway, we don't want to overeat. But if I wake up in the morning, about half an hour before I go for a walk, and take me a himbing, and maybe a cup of coffee, because it's going to increase that cortisol response. As soon as I start walking, I'm burning fat straight away, because if I only mobilise the fat for energy, and everything's moving. So my fat burning becomes more productive because I'm now releasing fat into the system to be used. But I've also got that wee bit of adrenaline going, so I'm ready to rock. I'm motoring and power walking as soon as I go. I'm not giving it this whole, I couldn't be bothered today, because I've just woken up and I've gone out and for a walk. So everything burns more calories from that point of view. So we're burning not more calories, sorry, we're burning more fat cells. If I go for a walk and I walk an hour and 60 minutes, I do that with the Yohimbine, I do it without the Yohimbine, I'll probably still burn the same calories if I walk at the same pace. But where am I getting the calories from? Well, I'll probably walk at a quicker pace because of the adrenaline, but remember, the calories are now going to be coming from fat cells, which is different. Right? You've got to understand the difference. So that's how Yohimbine works. You can obviously take this during the day if you're going to do then an evening session, but to be quite honest, I never take it after. Like I do my training at 4:30 in the morning, so I'm taking this at 4 in the morning. I'm very, very sensitive to this stuff. It's now 4 o'clock, 4:10, and I'm sweating. I'm still feeling the burn of it. Now, again, yes, it is 10 milligrams, but if I was to take this before the WIT session I do at 12 o'clock, I would not be sleeping tonight, so be careful with that. So using it for what it is absolutely phenomenal. It's actually quite a cheap supplement. You get it for maybe 30 quid. They usually come in 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams. I bought the 10 milligrams. It took me maybe 2 weeks to adjust to them, because I was feeling just, it took me about a week or two to maybe only 2 weeks before I could actually tolerate it a wee bit, where it wasn't to the point where sometimes I'm thinking, do I really want to be doing this? But if you start off with the 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams, 4 milligrams, 5 milligrams, you should build up a tolerance. I'm just a greedy shite, I just went straight to the 10. I thought, oh, that quicker, but anyway. So you have the choice of doing that. Now again, it's not for everybody, but it's an amazing natural supplement. There's nothing funny, quirky, funky out of it. It's all natural, and there's no sort of long-term negative effects of this or anything. Again, the only side effect I think there is, or ever reported or I felt, it's just a wee bit jittery. Like some people don't mind that, but honestly, like a cup of coffee at least maybe a bit jittery. So I am very sensitive to this stuff. So you may be different. I know me and Shirley were talking about this morning. She says she can take 50 milligrams and go straight to bed. I'm only joking, but she says it doesn't hit her the same way, but I really see it. So Yohimbine is the first one. So process this, watch it. Tomorrow I'll do another video on something different. Think about, do I want to get this in now? You can use it all the time, guys, right? But I would really focus on the 5-day challenge, right? We want to burn as much body fat as we can in 5 days, and then chill out for the other 3 weeks. We don't want to be constantly putting this stuff in our body. We don't want to be constantly taxing the body. We don't want to be constantly potentially breaking down muscle tissue, or just getting fed up trying to always focus on the scales and focus on food and focus on this and focus on that. So if we can maximize the 5 days once a month, that's all, guys, that's all you need to do, right? Stop Stop looking for quick fixes. Stop looking for miracle pills. Stop looking for the biohacks. They're not there. Trust me, because if they were, this is what these videos would be about. They're not. Especially once you get older and things become more important. For example, your health and your longevity and your mobility and all that kind of stuff. Trust me, I'm 49. I've had 2 hip replacements. There is no shortcuts. So I'm giving you the best tools possible. They, one, have sustainability, but ultimately enjoyability, and then definitely thirdly, get the results you want forever, permanent weight loss. So have a wee think about that. I'll put up a link down below as well of where you can get it, but you can source it yourself. You can get it, I think I got mine on Amazon. We sell ones here in Raw, but at the minute we only have the 20 milligrams, and I would not go near them. I wouldn't go near them. They're just too strong. I just think they're too strong. Now, unless you have a good tolerance, like I said, I'd leave those ones go. Right, so any questions on this, please let me know. I'll put up a wee couple of notes on Yohimbine if you want to read them yourself, see how they work, and I'll post up a link. Alright, I hope these videos help. If you want more of these, please let me know. If you think they're useless, please let me know. But I want to give you the tools that can help you burn as much fat as possible in 5 days. I want you to focus on the 5 days. I don't want you to think about, oh, here's something I can take forever. Kira, right? 5 days, done. Alright, have a good day.